In today's video, we'll be looking at my top VST plugins for 2019. Hi folks, I'm Mike and I hope you're well. Now as 2019 draws to an end, most of us have to face the sad and unfortunate fact that there will be no VST plugins under the Christmas tree for us. But fear not, because during 2019 I've looked at quite a number of free VST plugins which are sure to feed your VST addiction for the coming year at least. And I've put them together as my top 5 because that's what we do here on YouTube. Now I have to say up front that not all of these VST plugins were actually released in 2019, but they are the ones that I feel have stood the test of time, and I've made great use of them in a number of projects during this year. Now before I do show you those free VST plugins, if you do like this kind of content, all about DAWs, home recording, plugin reviews, gear reviews, that kind of thing, then please do subscribe and ring the bell on YouTube so that you are notified about my future videos. Now let's get stuck into some free plugins.
5.
So in at number 5 is Kotelnikov, a mastering compressor from Tokyo Dawn Records. And what I really love about this plugin is I seem to be able to just put it in my effects chain and get the results I need really quickly, and then I can move on. There's a couple of things particularly that I like about it. First of all, I love that when I'm using the threshold control here, that around the edge of the control is a kind of a meter, so I can see where I'm meeting the threshold that I want. So I'll just play some music and just look at what I'm talking about. You'll see the metering happening around the edge of the control here. Here we go.
Ever felt so far away from you?
And you can see there that as I've moved the dial around, I can see where I'm meeting the kind of levels that I want. So that's just a really simple thing which just makes life a little bit easier and makes good use of the real estate of the GUI. Now the other thing I like is the fact that this has got 2 release controls. One is a peak release control here and the other one is an RMS release control. So the way that seems to work is that when there is a sort of a sudden transient which goes over the threshold and it detects that it's just something which has poked its head over the threshold momentarily, then it has a different release time to when some of the signal is sustained over the threshold. So if it's just a quick transient, then you can set the release time for that with the release peak control. And as I say, when there is a sustained amount of signal over the threshold, then you can use the release time here, the RMS release time. A really handy feature, particularly for mastering.
4.
So way back in April, I did a review of some free plugins, and this one actually came in at number 5. But since then, I feel it stood the test of time a little bit more, and I've got it here at number 4. It's a Reverb plugin called Reverb by Yuhi, and it's a very easy plugin to use. As you can see, there's not many controls at all, but nonetheless, it's still an excellent plugin in my opinion. So it's modeled on actual rooms. So the first thing you actually do in it is choose a room type, and it's going to be very authentic or fairly authentic to whatever room you choose. From then on, you can just mix between the dry signal and the wet signal, and the only real control you've got is the decay. So it's a very simple plugin to use. So I've got it applied to a snare drum here, and let's start off with I don't know, Cathedral as a room, and I'll play this. So just listen to the snare drum in particular, and I'll start to mess around with the decay time here. Wow, listen to that. Let's take a look at another one. I'll go to, why not go to Drum Studio? Have a listen to that. It's got a slight Phil Collins feel, that. Okay, so the way they make this freely available to you is that they're actually using this as some kind of research project, I believe. And what you can do at the bottom of this plugin is randomize some models and some delays, and you can just sort of play around like so. Let's go for some randomization here. Okay. And if you find something you like, you can copy and paste the code from here and then send it to them, and that will help them out. And that's kind of an interesting thing to do. So definitely go ahead and give Protoverb a try out.
3.
So VST plugins are not only audio effects plugins, but of course they're virtual instruments as well. And not long ago, I did a video about my favorite acoustic piano free plugins. And this is what I picked as number 1. It's called Piano One from Sound Magic. Now, Sound Magic actually sell quite a few commercial piano plugins, but what they allow you to do is download their kind of player, as it were, and then you can use this free library from Piano One. So the whole thing's completely free, even though they do have some commercial products available. Now, this has lots and lots of controls on this piano where you can control the mix in different ways and the dynamics and things like the noises, the damping, all that kind of stuff. And they give you some really nice reverbs with it as well. And when you've found a sound you like, you can save it as a preset. And they've got a few presets here, so you can go through them here. You'll see the values changing there as I go through different presets. And I'm going to choose, let's see, pop here. And of course, the main thing that you want to know is, how does this piano sound? So I've got a little piece that I prepared earlier, and it goes a little something like this. So Blue Cat Audio do a number of different free plugins, but one of my favorite is this one. It's called Free Amp. It's an amp simulator, and it's a great plugin to have in your arsenal. Even if you already have an amp simulator, it's really nice to have some different sounds available to you. Now, in this amp sim, there are 3 different amps. There's this classic clean one, there is a classic drive amp, and there is a modern drive amp. And what I really like is that once you set the settings on one of the amps, it maintains those settings as you switch to each amp, so you're not having to readjust every time. So if you're going for, say, a relatively clean sound, it means as you switch to the other amp, it'll have a relatively clean sound, but it will just have a different characteristic. So that's a really nice feature of this particular one. So what I'm going to do now is play a quick track, which I literally just put together in the last 20 minutes or so. And I'm just going to start off by playing the track without any amp sim switched on, so you can just hear the dry guitar sound. Okay, so now let's switch on the amp sim. Let's switch to another amp. Let's go to modern drive. And that's just the kind of clean sound. So you're just getting that sense that the guitar is actually now plugged into an actual amplifier. A very straightforward, simple plug-in to use. So give it a try and download it from the link in the description. So before I get into my number 1 pick for free VST plugins for 2019, I'd like to make some honorable mentions. These are plugins which didn't quite make the top 5, but are nonetheless worthy of your consideration. But before I get into those, I would like to make an honorable mention to 2 of my viewers who generously made a donation to my channel via my PayPal Me link shown on the screen now, and also in the description down below. Thank you very much to Colin Ryan and Lawrence Green for their donations. And if you'd like to make a donation to the channel, use that link in the description, and it's all very much greatly received, no matter how small or how big. So moving on to those plugins which didn't quite make it. If you are after a realistic bass guitar and a realistic acoustic guitar, check out these bad boys. I'll put some links in the description. They're from Ample Sound. They're using their old interface and everything, but they still sound great. You can use these in songs right away, and they're they're very, very authentic. So check those out. And also, last but not least, is Nova, again from Tokyo Dawn Records. I really like the plugins that this company make. This is a free EQ plugin. It's got some very, very neat features, and if you're not happy with the stock one which came with your DAW, or you just want something a little bit different to try out, then definitely give this one a go. You can have some real fun with it.
1.
So I did a review during the year of some free drum kits, and I didn't actually have this one picked as number 1 at the time, but it's grown on me a lot since then, and I found it to be quite useful and used it in some projects. Now this is Stephen Slate Drums 5 with a free library called Deluxe 2 Free Edition. So the actual player, the Stephen Slate Drums, is actually free as well, but you can of course get commercial libraries as well. But in this case we're using the free library which you can get, and it's a very, very nice all-round drum kit. Let's have a quick listen by clicking on the drums. So a really nice all-round acoustic sounding kit, and you've also got some nice features in this plugin as well. You can actually do some edits on each of the instruments just to tweak them. You've also got a mixer where you can actually output each individual drum to a different channel in the console in your DAW, and you've also got some grooves which come along with it as well. So I'm sure you just want to hear how it sounds in an actual rhythm. So here we go with Stephen Slate Drums 5 Deluxe 2 Free Edition. So I've got a question for you. What are your top 5 free VST plugins? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about them. And if I've missed any at all, then I'll try and make a video about them during 2020. Now, if you did like this video and you found it helpful, you can help me out by hitting the like button. If you didn't like this video at all, show your frustration, vent your anger, and hit the dislike button twice. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell on YouTube so that you are notified about my future videos. And I'll see you in the next video.